Hello everyone, and welcome to the first special episode of How's It Been? Where we just kind of talk one-on-one. You know, we don't usually get a chance to talk too much to each other, anymore. Just,
because we all go to, separate schools,
Yeah.
and we're always in different classes, too.
Yeah, so how the format of this kind of segment is going to be, we'll also be cycling with other kinds of segments. We've had a lot of, thoughts about this. We have a Tarv behind the camera right now.
Hello, I need to scream.
Oh yeah, because
maybe I should get a mic over.
But yeah, so we just kind of wanted to have a one-on-one between the people. So for reference, Aditya and Rishi go to the same school. Me and Atarv go to the same school. So this kind of segment is gonna be with a combination of one person from that school, one person from our school.
Yep.
But we have some other stuff in store. Keep watch for that. But you'll be seeing this probably before the actual episode. To this time's actual episode was a little bit on the shorter side. So we're like, yeah, you know what? Let's start off now.
Yeah, so the idea is we might post this one a couple days before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I can probably edit this one quicker.
Probably around Wednesday or Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, but in any case, you'll see this a little early. So, how's it been, Rishi?
I don't know. School's been okay.
School's been okay.
Yeah.
Dude, school. I was talking about this to a lot of people. I don't know how it feels for you guys. For us, because of the way our courses kind of work, it feels like this year was a continuation of last year. Like, it was a part 2 of last year, not like it's senior year separately. You know what I mean?
For us, it's the opposite because... Sorry, I just cut you off.
No, you're good.
Because, we have, so many different classes, and, none of them are, parts 1 and 2, except for, physics 1 and then physics 2. That's the only, one where you, continue with the same subject, unless you, take, a regular class in your freshman year and then AP. But other than that, it's all, separated courses. So there's a clear distinction, year by year, and it just it's your senior year when you have 3 study halls a day. Every single day you go to 4 classes and then you leave early.
Yeah, for us it's it's a little bit different because it's literally every class is a part 2. Literally every class is a year 2. So because of that, it just feels like a continuation rather than anything else.
Yeah, because that's just how IB works, right? You choose one path, and then you have to take multiple years of those courses that correlate to that path.
No. So that's the kind of thing that people get messed up on. It's more so we have a core, we have our core classes, and then we have a pathway class. Our pathway class, that's kind of separate. Our courses aren't based on that pathway class. My pathway is marketing and finance, but the courses I take are you need to take everything. You need to take a social studies, a science, all those sort of things, right? So, but everything's a part 2. So it's physics year 2, bio year 2, econ year 2, that kind of stuff. So it's all just kind of like that, rather than we're taking different sort of courses. I don't think there's any course that's different from last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. You can make it different. I know people that have dropped down a level in math.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for us,
I wish I dropped down a level.
Yeah, for us, it's actually I'm continuing 2 courses, which is pretty unusual, but one is choir and then physics, like I said earlier. And then my 3 other classes are new. I'm taking Gov Macro, which is a pretty weird course because you take both AP Gov and AP Macro. They're both 1 semester courses in college. So for high school, they split it up. So you take AP Gov the first half of the year and then AP Macroeconomics the second half of the year in the same period. So it's split up semester by semester.
Sorry, I'm not even in here, but I find that interesting. Sid, he has a separate macroeconomics class.
Yeah,
that's great. That's really cool.
Okay, let me talk about how econ works in our school. So there's a full AP economics class, which goes over micro the first half, macro the second half, and then at the end of the year, since they're technically separate courses in college, you have to take 2 AP exams for that one course. But then you can also split it up. You can't take micro by itself, but you can take I'm taking this year AP Gov and then AP Macro after.
Dude, I can't with standardized testing. I don't think I could do AP because it's just the AP test. There's no way I'm doing that much standardized testing. Do you think standardized testing should exist?
No.
Why?
I mean, I think I can understand AP tests because it's like kind of like a finals. It's seeing if you retained, like, you actually retain the knowledge, like if you learned something over the year. But like the SAT, like that kind of standardized testing, it's like just it only tests how well you can prepare for the SAT itself, not what you've learned over the course of like your first 10 years of high school or
But now
like schooling.
let me say counter to that though. Isn't that what colleges want to know though? They want to know whether you have the ability to prepare for a test, whether you have the ability to prepare for something properly.
That's true, but then it should be like properly weighted because not everyone can afford the proper resources to prepare for that.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's the kind of like that's the part that kind of gets me a lot of the times, which is like it's a lot about what your socioeconomic status is. Because if you're able to pay for like classes like prep classes or like test materials and stuff like that, then there's like a lot more you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I feel like it's not impossible
Yeah,
for
and
lower socioeconomic like statuses to be able to like do well. Now,
and
I'm
also
not trying to like sorry, but I'm not trying to like make it seem like it's a less of a problem than it is. All I'm saying is that I think it's not impossible. I think a lot of people also blow it a little bit out of proportion compared to what it is.
mm-hmm.
Because like, test materials have become a lot more
Open source.
open source,
Yeah,
yeah,
open
public,
source.
like in general, right? Like Khan Academy is doing like
I
wonders
know.
with that kind of stuff. People don't realize, like, people kind of look at Khan Academy and they're like, oh dude, what, like Khan Academy is like kind of stupid, like that thing. But it's like, no, having gone through like prep class and stuff like that, Khan Academy is giving you a solid like thing for what to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally it's a solid plan. They give you like questions that aren't like necessarily SAT, but like test you on specific subjects. They teach you all the things that you need to know within like math and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
they also like teach you additional strategies, like how to go about answering these types of questions.
Yeah, so it's like people just don't understand how powerful things like Khan Academy and stuff is, and they
Mm-hmm.
like take that for granted.
And also going back to more of like the socioeconomic, thinking about it now, like more about it, like while you were talking about that Khan Academy and stuff, I guess like it is kind of balanced out by the colleges themselves because even if you don't have the resources to score as high, colleges take your socioeconomic status into consideration, and like they consider the fact that you don't have as much money to spend on getting these resources.
That's actually true. I didn't even think about that because that is a thing within the college like admission process, right? What's another hot take you have?
How about you go first?
Hot take, dude?
You have a lot of them, I know.
I have a lot of them, but I can't think of something on the spot. Give me a topic.
Uh,
I think a lot of people overestimate their like thing of being able to tell good food. They like overestimate that ability because it's like even for me, a lot of times I'm like I recognize the fact that I'm not like a super connoisseur of food in the sense that like you give me if you give me like a 200-year aged blue cheese versus a 150-year aged blue cheese, right?
yeah.
I'm not going to be able to tell the difference. But that doesn't mean I can't tell good food from bad food. But a lot of the times I'll be sitting there and I'll be eating something and it'll come into my head, like it'll pop into my head like, do I actually know whether this is good or not? Or am I just saying that it's good or just saying that it's bad because of like I just don't know. And I feel like a lot of people in general, and that's the same thing that goes for like art, which is that it's it's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
There's, in my opinion, same thing with art and in like food, there is no actual like there's no qualitative measurement to be able to tell whether something is good food or good art or anything like that. Rather, it's completely subjective.
Yeah, it's just like completely based on whatever you like at the moment, like what your tastes are.
Exactly. Let's say I'm someone who has a generally higher salt tolerance, right? I may be eating at a Michelin star restaurant and be like, yo, this doesn't have enough salt. It's pretty bland to me. But then some other connoisseur is gonna be like, oh no, it's like the best. And then my opinion changes because it's like, oh, because it's a Michelin star place. So I think, and that's the same thing with art, right? I was thinking, like, what differentiates the art that's like in a museum from what's on your fridge?
Well, I think not too much, but like really just experience, and then also I think I guess going back to food, like there are just so many different like cooking techniques and all of that stuff, and then there are just like overall better dishes. Like salt is like one thing, but just the taste overall, like if you know how to mix the taste well, like when you're cooking it, that's what like
But
that's
I
how a
think
Michelin
that's
star
I
restaurant.
think that's a chef.
Well,
I don't think that's a food. I think that's a chef. Because let's say I don't like squid, but something's made out of squid, but
well
that's
then
a
why go
Michelin star
even
dish.
go to that restaurant if you don't like squid?
Because maybe I like that chef. My point being that I think differentiating the art from the artist or the food from the chef, I think it's more valid to say that someone's a good chef because there's quantitative measurements for it. Are you consistently able to make food that can cater to a lot of people and that can cater like well to a lot of people? I think that makes a good chef.
I
You know
think
what I
it's
mean?
also like I think if I understand what you're saying correctly, like what differentiates like a Michelin star restaurant from like just a normal restaurant is like how well they can make that squid dish. Like the Michelin star restaurant can probably make the squid dish a lot better, like
But
prepare it a
no,
lot
but
better
what
than
I'm
the.
saying is what makes a dish better.
Well, it's like you were saying, it's the chef, but
It's subjective. What makes something taste better is subjective. What makes a chef, in my opinion, what makes a chef better is being able to cater to those people's subjectiveness. If that makes, does that make sense? Where it's
yeah,
like,
it does. It makes a lot of
because
sense, but
if you have a lot of technical skill, you're right, the technical skill, right? But that's not, in my opinion, that dish. Let's say I know how to do something using like liquid nitrogen. I know how to cook using liquid nitrogen, right? But my dish doesn't require it. Does that fully reflect my skills? No. But that doesn't mean that the chef isn't really good. It just means that the dish doesn't necessarily need that.
Do you think that a chef needs to be able to cater to multiple people
To be a good
to
chef.
be a good chef?
Yes, absolutely. I think for you to be able to be considered a good chef means that you need to have such a deep level of understanding of food that you can that someone can say something about your food, like as in, oh, this doesn't have enough this, or this doesn't, like, it's missing something, and you will be able to make that change to be able to cater to them. So like for reference, like when we went to the ramen restaurant,
mm-hmm.
right? That's what I was thinking about. On that, did you see how many options they had
Yeah.
to change it? They took one dish, which is ramen, and they gave a bunch of different ways to change it to cater to the subjectiveness of people.
I feel like ramen's like different though because that's how ramen's meant to be. Like it's meant to like it's open to all of these different like side dishes and all these different flavors. I think like I can half agree with you, but there's also I don't want to like undermine the efforts of a chef who like puts all of their like efforts into like one category of food. Like say they're really good at making like pastas and they're not as good as like dealing with maybe meats. I don't want to like undermine their efforts to learn how to make those pastas really well.
No, I totally agree with you. It's just that for me the thing is like good food. Like I think a lot of people, again, going back to my point, overestimate how good they are at being able to tell good food from bad food because it's completely subjective.
Yeah, and it's also like the name. Like if this like really famous like food person says like this food is good, it's already in your mind that like, cause your mind also like affects your taste buds. Like how like if you go into something thinking you won't like it, then there's a higher chance that you actually won't like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Sorry. At a point, do you think that a good chef can be made by the respect they have for certain techniques? Do you think that it isn't that the level of respect they have for a certain thing is reflective on their ability as a chef?
I think that can be done, and I think that again brings in the subjectiveness, right? Let's say like Ratatouille. Let's take Ratatouille, right?
Mm-hmm.
The respect you have for that culture's food, so that like can make you feel a certain way, right? That food is again subjective. It's like that one, the like chef connoisseur dude, right?
Yeah.
Who like the guy who was like rating the places, and don't you remember he ate the ratatouille and he like flashes back into his like childhood thing?
Yeah.
That's like all subjective. But I think a good chef was made because he understands what the food like how the food like kind of came into place and stuff like that, and was able to create that.
And they were able to like appeal to their customer and make them feel like that sort of nostalgia.
Exactly. Because it was like, and don't you remember one of the arguments was, what dish do we make him? What dish will cater to this dude? And that's what I'm saying. And I think that like again, going back to people overestimate their thing of food, where it's like, and it's like the same thing, it has the same effect on wine and stuff. Have you ever watched those videos where people who claim that they're like so like totally like totally like wine connoisseurs and stuff, they'll give them like cheap wine, put like expensive wine, and it's like, oh, which one's which, and people just don't know. Now, with that being said, there are some people who are genuinely that good, of raters, but I think that's like a 1 in a million people. Most people who claim to like be care that much, I don't think so. I think there's a general thing of if something's like literally dog water, but like but for the most part it's just subjective. That's my thing. Same thing with art. That's how I feel about art. Like I think like what differentiates what's in the fridge from what's in a museum is what's on a fridge appeals to the people who put it on the fridge because it's something dear to them.
It's like sentimental versus like just this thing that some guy 200 years ago created, and now it's in this museum.
And so that becomes the question, which one's more valuable?
Well, I guess like monetary.
No,
the one
but
that's
what's more
older.
valuable?
That's some TOK shit.
Yeah, it is. It's
What
some
makes
TOK
art valuable?
That's what I'm saying. Because think about it. One has a numerical value, but one's irreplaceable.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to.
Dude, I'm going crazy today. I'm going philosophical and shit. I'm going crazy. But like, isn't that like, I don't know, dude. What's a hot take you have? We've literally just been talking about my hot take. What's a hot take you have?
Give me a topic.
Nature.
Oh, okay. I don't think it's valid that people become vegetarian just to like stop the killing of animals. Like it's gonna happen. Unless like a large majority of the population becomes vegetarian because of that reason.
So
Okay.
I've had this. So I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled for this, but I agree with you. Because I think the argument comes up that like, oh well, it's change happens one at a time with people, like that's.
I mean, yes, I guess like that is a valid argument when it happens one at a time, but for such a huge population we have in the world now, like that one at a time needs to happen at least like a billion more times.
Yeah, and I think another thing with that is it's also really tough because it also comes down to cultural things, right? Like think about it, because the American culture, not even American culture, I can't even say American culture. Do you remember California culture? California culture was like super vegan and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But let's say you go somewhere where their main way of getting food, they don't really farm as much and stuff like that. The main way they get food is like, oh, they go fishing, they like hunt, or like anything of that sort, or it's like more meat based, right? Saying that, oh, you guys should change your entire way of like living because trying to like stop the killing of animals, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's simply not gonna happen because you're in a position where you're able to like, you know, because you're in the position where you're able to make the choice. You're trying to apply that to everyone, saying that everyone has that ability to make that choice.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it matters even less if you don't have the ability to like spread your opinion. Like if you just do it and then it's like, okay, you did it, but how is this going to convince other people? Like you'd have to be like someone famous, someone like whose name is known by a lot of people, and then you'll have to express your opinion, and those people who follow you might listen to you. That's like the best way to spread.
On Sid's point, do you think there's a distinction between hunting and killing an animal or fishing for animals because that's your only food source versus eating farm-raised animals?
It's an interesting point, because the argument comes up on, those animals still have emotions, the ones that you're killing, right? They still have emotions, they still have that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like they're being bred for the sake of being killed. So, what is it? I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that. I don't know. The, like, humanitarian in me, or, like, the animal lover in me is like, there's a distinction that, like, there's no distinction. They're all, like, animals. They all, like, feel the same way and stuff like that. But, again, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like, I'm sorry, but until literally there's some sort of law that gets passed that bans it, it's gonna keep continuing to happen.
Do you think a law would stop it?
No.
It'll become like the black market.
People in the government don't really care too much about the animals anyway.
No, it has too much of a stronghold. It has, like, think about it. If the meat industry were to go away, right? Think about how much loss there would be in general.
Yeah.
It's just too much. And
also not just loss, but like how angry the general population would be.
Yeah. And another thing, right? Going back to, like, the thing of, like, oh, you have the ability to make a choice. Like, we're both non-vegetarians. So, like, Atarv, if you sorry, camera, like, this will look really weird, but I'm looking at Atarv right now. Yeah. So Atarv, so, like, if, let's say, again, culturally, right? My thing of, like, you get to make the choice of whether you want to eat meat, and not only that, but what I'm saying is, because you're in a position where you have the choice that, like, I'm gonna buy vegetarian option today instead of a non-vegetarian option, or I'm gonna be able to consume this versus, like, oh, it's just what's given to you. Like, in our first world issues, right? Like, think about it. Let's say we go somewhere, right? Like, I know for sure you've been put in this situation where there's no vegetarian dishes. There's only non-vegetarian. Would you look down on someone who maybe had less, I don't know, not emotional, like, less of a strength, less of, like, less strength to stop themselves from eating that meat thing because it's the only thing available? Or would you?
I would never look down on someone, and I might end up being that person. So here's the thing: in the situations where I've been put, where I haven't been able to eat any vegetarian food, it's so rare. And if it happens, then I just, like, drink milk or something, and I just wait until I can get somewhere. I've never been abandoned on an island or something. In that case, 100%, I'd rather live. Okay, because at the end of the day, there's a food chain.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and this is a question I want to pose to both of you, and this is what I was discussing with my friend over text before the podcast started, is, do you think it really matters that people are eating meat, which is honestly one of the most efficient? Of course, the beef market is one thing. That's the worst for the environment out of all of them.
Yeah.
But chicken factories, my friend was saying they're very efficient because they're farmed, right? But on another level, do you think it means anything when people are getting rid of meat in the most efficient way possible, which is eating it, than making leather seats for their cars or making fur coats?
I was actually going to talk about that. I thank you for bringing up that topic. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate the people who try to say that, like, oh, I'm vegetarian because of this and stuff like that, and then they'll buy a leather handbag. Like, dude, what are you doing? Because the leather industry and stuff like that, a lot of times, right, they won't use the animals that you're using for eating. They'll breed separate animals for that leather and stuff like that.
Hermes,
Really?
Yes.
The luxury brand Hermes has their own alligator breeding factory.
Just for the alligator skin. They do it separately. Like, you see I don't know if you've been to Florida, but you'll see, like, alligator heads and stuff like that, right? Those are killed not for the food, but specifically for their heads and everything like that. Like, leather and stuff like that, right? They're killed for that leather, not for the food.
I assume these companies are doing it separately because, like, how you raise these animals change, like, how their meat tastes, or, like, how good their quality their leather
Exactly.
is.
And so that's what really pisses me off, because it's like, if you really want to go for it, then don't buy any products. Like, here's the thing: I eat meat, but I don't buy leather. Everything I have is like faux leather.
That's
I
the
try
thing,
not to
though.
buy leather as much as possible. Which, it's like, then you can say, oh, but you're still eating meat. Well, yeah, but at the same time, when you're eating the meat, right? The way that I look at it is, you're doing kind of a little bit more justice to the animal, in the sense that you're eating it all and it's all for like kind of sustenance. Whereas the leather thing, that's not, you don't need to do that.
That's true.
That's
Like-
the thing, though. At a point,
Yeah.
is it avoidable? Because I'm just gonna. Your cars both have leather seats.
Yeah.
Real
No.
leather.
You're right. And that comes down to the, when you have a choice, it's like, it comes down to that thing of like, if you have that option, do you take it? Because here's the thing though, let's say I go somewhere and they're only they don't have faux leather, they don't have that kind of technology to make faux leather, right? I'm not gonna look down at them. I'm not gonna be like, yo, how dare you use leather, you should start investing in faux leather. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that to them. That's just what it is. But what makes me upset is when people are like trying to impose their thing of like, oh, eat vegetarian, and then they do this. They'll buy animal products and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it's not avoidable. And if it's not avoidable, I'm not gonna look down on you.
Yeah.
before-
And then the same thing, like, you like eat meat, but you don't like buy leather products. But like, you're not like putting this thing on other people, like,
Yeah.
oh, don't buy leather products, because like,
Yeah, because
you
I know
understand
I'm eating meat.
that perspective, yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm eating meat. It's just, I'm trying to, and that's the thing. I acknowledge that I'm eating meat, and I acknowledge that it's not the best thing. So not to counteract that, but to slightly lessen the blow a little bit. I'm not trying to go with the go big or go home route. Instead, I'm trying to, like, lessen down my impact by taking one, leaving the other. Taking the food option, leaving the like leather and stuff option, the animal product option. I acknowledge I'm not a saint by any means by doing that, because I'm still eating meat. So I'm not going to impose my view on others, right? Because I know that, like, again, I don't know what your situation is, you don't know what my situation is. It's just not, it's,
everyone has different lifestyles, with like ways of living, just
Exactly.
and ways they were raised.
and dude, if you do it, respect. If you can turn vegetarian, if you can turn vegan, respect. If you think that that's helping you, totally great. But just don't impose that. Like, just don't. I think just like, don't try to impose that on other people. And if you genuinely care about it, right? Maybe just say it once, right? I wouldn't care if someone's like, maybe you should try going vegetarian for a bit. Okay, maybe I'll try. But like, don't be like, the stereotypical vegans,
That
like the
Yeah.
stereotypical, that vegan thing of like, I do this, and like, just like throwing it into everything. Like, don't do that. Don't make your personality being vegan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, so is that our 30? I think that's our 30
I
minutes,
think
right?
that's about 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, sick. So, yeah, as you guys can tell, that's like a way more sort of like calmer thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
calm,
it's just us.
more focused.
Yeah. And if you guys like it, let us know. But it's just kind of, this is less of, I would say entertainment, I guess, and more so that you guys can get to know us better. Just, I hope this gave you a little bit more, like, introspection of who we are as people. Just like a bit more of a look into who we kind of are. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then
But-
this won't be the only type. There will be other types of specials in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll like keep cycling it through. But if you like this one specifically, then do let us know, because then that'll kind of tell us which segments that you guys like over others. But yeah, Atarv isn't here to do it, so I guess I'll do it. But thank you so much for listening. As I said before, if you liked it, please leave a comment. If you didn't like it, leave a comment too. Let us know what you didn't like. It really helps getting your kind of feedback on what you like to see, anything of that sort. If you want to see a specific combination of people, let us know about that too. Maybe you want to hear a specific view from someone on some topic, then this is kind of your place to pose those topics on us, because it's just a more focused sort of thing. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find us on any podcasting platform, such as Anchor. Wait, what was it?
Yeah,
Anchor.fm
so you can check out all of
slash-
our platforms on anchor.fm/Saturday Night Discord.
Yeah, on Anchor FM Saturday Night Discord.
That's
I'm
why
great
I've
at
been
this.
doing them.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Please check out the actual podcast, Saturday Night Discord. We post every Saturday. But this has been How's It Been? Thank you so much for watching and have a good one.